Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back under the big top.
Yeah.
It's the Lake Cities Podcast with Chris and Lucas. I am Chris Pinkert, and across from me is the handsomest man. I just call myself Chris Pinkert. That's
really
how I started.
Did. That's
Man,
it.
I'm Lucas Pinkert, and across from me is the handsomest man in the Lake Cities. It's Chris Respis. What's up, Chris?
Hey, what's up, y'all? Hey, man, how you doing?
Apparently, I don't even know who I am.
That's
I'm having
okay.
an existential
That's
crisis.
how close we are, bro.
That is.
It.
We just
We're sharing names
it's like
and everything.
One. Today we've got a special guest on the phones and in person.
All right.
It is Cristy Blue. She is the owner, operator, and administrator of the Lake Cities Buzz
All
Facebook
right.
page. Keeps us in the loop on everything that's happening within the Lake City. She's got some special top secret projects going on. She serves on the Parks and Rec board, right, for the City of Lake Dallas. Is that correct?
Correct. Parks and Rec, Library Advisory Board, and Keep Lake Dallas Beautiful Board.
Oh, great.
Okay.
So I got some questions for you about the library, too, because there's some books that I'm looking for on Hoopla, and they're not there. So when are we going to get...
Go check out the library in person, and you can maybe request them.
I'm more of a listener, not a reader. So...
We'll work on that. That can be an
yeah.
extra special project I'm working on for you.
Perfect. So, Cristy, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Talk to us a little bit. So you moved, for people who don't know your backstory, you moved to Lake Dallas from California, 4 years ago, somewhere in there?
Correct. I've been here just over 3 years this time.
This time. So there was a previous time where you were in Lake Dallas.
I lived here about 10 years ago, and I didn't like Lake Dallas very much.
Okay.
And so I left, and I said I would never come back. And God brought me back. So
How's about them apples?
All right. So much for that. Never.
Yeah. That's why we don't speak in absolutes in this house.
we were never coming back, but here I am.
Yeah, here you are. And this time you have put yourself in a position where you're able to make a difference. So some of the things that you didn't like beforehand. One of the things that I really appreciate that you do with the Lake Cities Buzz is that you keep people informed on some of the things, the events that are going on in the city, as well as some of our areas that maybe need a little bit of a spotlight shown on them. It's been an interesting few weeks for the city of Lake Dallas.
It has.
In general. So for those who don't know, over the course of the last month, we've lost our city manager. We've lost our chief of police.
We have.
And in the coming this week, we have started early voting for the local elections.
Correct.
And then in May, the official...
May 1st will be the official vote date.
Yeah, is the official vote date for those elections. So as a person who's running this admin page or this page about the Lake Cities, what have you seen from the community over the last several weeks? As much as you and as comfortable as you are with talking about it, what is the Lake Cities Buzz?
The Lake Cities Buzz page is a page that I created to help keep people informed. I'm totally for community involvement. I had a ministry in California with the homeless population when I came here. I lost that ministry and I didn't feel like I had a purpose. So I lived in apartments in Lake Dallas for 3 years or 2 years. I moved into I bought a house last year. And once I bought the house, I decided that this really was my purpose here and community was going to be my new purpose that God brought me here for.
It's a very cute house, too.
Oh, okay.
It's so cute.
All right. Look at you blushing. All right. Come on, house.
It's a little blue house with a pink door.
Oh, yeah. That's
totally cute. And everybody knows I live in Charlie's house. Anyways. So what I find is that people want to give, people want to serve, people want to be a participant in the community, but they don't know how.
Okay.
They don't maybe have as much time. They can't bring on one project, but maybe they can help with a piece of a project.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily have the finances to support some of my ideas, but there's community members that don't have the time or can't do the footwork, and they'll help financially support it.
Right.
So in the last couple years, the page, the community, and I don't take claim for any of it. I mean, the members are what does it. There's currently 2,600 members of the page.
All right.
Last summer, we donated 3,000 water bottles to the 3 fire departments and 3 police departments in the Lake Cities.
Okay.
We provided dinners for all of the midnight officers.
Wow.
I work midnights a lot with my police department, and so I know that they're kind of the forgotten shift.
Sure.
So we kind of do a little bit of extra love for them. We've most recently supplied lunch for all of the public works people in Lake Dallas. They were out in the snowstorms in the middle of the night,
Right.
protecting the streets. So we did that. At Christmas time, the city came together. Officer Dave from Hickory Creek reached out to me on Christmas Eve and said that there was a family in Lake Dallas that had no presents under the tree. And within 15 minutes, I had $300 Venmoed to me by different members of the community. So we were able to provide that Christmas for that family.
Oh, that's awesome.
It is.
We've recently gotten all but one of the Adopt-A-Spot locations in Lake Dallas adopted. So the community members want to help. Sometimes they just seem scary to them.
Yeah.
If you drive by the Welcome to Lake Dallas sign today, it's been completely re-landscaped.
Oh, wow.
And so, and that was all completely donated by members of the community. It was power washed. A new planter was put in to match the original sign, and today was the landscape day.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
That is
kind of what
awesome.
we do.
Okay.
I'm currently collecting plastic bags for the city. It's going to formally be presented soon. Somebody planted a seed. They said there's some other programs. They're called Bags to Benches programs in other cities. Why can't we do it? So I presented it to the Parks and Rec Board, and I now have 68 pounds of plastic bags in my shed at home from community members that just drop it off at the Little Blue House.
Wow.
With the pink door.
door.
With the,
Yeah.
pink, with the pink door.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
just any blue house, the pink door.
So, in fact, we have citywide cleanup on Saturday, and this is the first year that we are collecting plastic bags at the citywide cleanup. So it's going to be definitely a citywide effort. I do live in Lake Dallas, so a lot of what I do is for Lake Dallas, but our Buzz page is actually for all of the lake cities.
So that includes Corinth, Hickory Creek, and Shady Shores as well, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. But people south of the bridge, like we don't want Louisville, Flower Mountain. We don't want any of those folks in there. And that's fine that we don't.
Well, I love everybody. So we post for everybody. It's primarily Lake City's people.
Sure.
I work in Grapevine, so I do things from here to Grapevine. So
Gotcha.
sometimes if there's
All right.
activities in Grapevine that we may not have here, then it's posted
Right on.
there in Louisville, Flower Mound,
That's
all
cool.
that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
that is cool. That is cool. So, what projects really kind of grip your heart? And you say you work with the homeless or the displaced back in California. There's certain kinds of projects that just really grab you, or anything that you just feel will impact the community. Just are kind of led toward that
Currently,
or just in general.
my heart is in Ghana.
Oh, right. Okay.
I did a mission to work in Ghana in 2017, and that's
Some great coffee comes out of Ghana.
truly where my heart is. Some of the things I'd like to ultimately get involved in would be like human trafficking and things like that.
Okay.
I say that I have no skills. The only skill that God really gave me is to love people, and I
Okay.
can love people where they're at. So that's kind of my gig, which is why I did so much with the homeless population and the prison population.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's a serious skill.
Well,
It is.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
Well, it is.
Yeah, coming from two pastors. Yeah,
That's the
that
one you
is.
want.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that because it just motivates you to look past a lot of things and to see what the future might hold. To have a hopeful outlook, and that's awesome.
I like it. That was when I went on mission in Ghana. I was a little bit afraid. I had never done anything like that. Totally out of my comfort zone. I don't read the Bible like I should. I don't go to church like I should. I work. Right,
We can
Pastor?
fix that. We can work on that.
I work a lot of hours. Life happens. I work weird hours, but that was my skill in Ghana, was that we were able to do that. So we visited a witch camp, and that's where we loved on people.
Gotcha.
Okay, so I want to know more about that. What was that like to visit a witch camp?
It was scary.
Okay.
Our main trip was in southern Ghana, and we took a little prop plane to northern Ghana to where the witch camps were. There's 6 witch camps in Ghana still. And what it is when women or men, wizards, are accused of witchcraft, they're exiled from their communities and put into these camps. So the camp that we went to had about 40 women and probably 30 kids. They didn't speak any English, but we were able to go with people that lived there, and they would translate. We took them handmade quilts for each of the women, reading glasses, because some of these women had never had reading glasses before, and a Bible in the Dagbani language, which is their native language.
Okay.
And so it was amazing. I was really scared. We missed our first plane, or there was a problem with our first flight. So I really thought that was God telling us not
to go.
Not to go. I don't necessarily believe in witchcraft per se, but you just don't ever know what you're getting into.
Right.
And so I was really frightened. But our flight worked out, and we arrived, and those women they were the most amazing women I had ever met. And the kids, and we brought soccer balls to the kids.
That's awesome.
And so
were the kids, were they born there, or were they kids that were accused of witchcraft?
They were, a lot of times it was like if grandma got accused and grandma was caretaker, then grandma and kid would go into the witch camp. So they were little kids. The only way to get out of the witch camp is if you were proven not to be a witch, and by doing that it would be sacrificing through a chicken. So you would have to have money to pay for the sacrifice, and then we would have to come back legit, and it didn't, because it's not what.
Yeah.
So these are like the Monty Python witch trials. Right. Like if she weighs as much as a duck, then she's a witch. But I mean, like in that
it's
level
like
of like kind of ridiculousness.
The chicken flops, and if it lands one way, it's almost like doing heads and tails on a coin.
Wow.
So different witch camps were different. They're trying to get rid of some of the witch camps. But my friend, Pastor Monday, he lives in Ghana still. He's very active in that community, and I still keep in touch with him. And he's really one of their saviors. It was crazy, though. I mean, a lot different than the United States. We had to get permission to go in. The women only spoke when spoken to by the chief. We had to kneel.
That's weird.
It was weird. It was definitely life-changing for me. But I loved it. I would go back in a heartbeat.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, because it's clear to me just listening to this, you're a courageous person. So how have you found that? I'm just telling you, right?
Yeah.
You went to the witch camp, right?
Well, but
I have not been to the witch camp. No.
Yeah, right?
No, we're going to the witch camp. You guys have fun.
Y'all tell me what that's like.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to tell the story that y'all went.
Yeah. You guys go to the witch camp. I'm going to watch Baylor.
That's it. So clearly to me, you're courageous. I mean, but you're compassionate in addition to that. So, thinking about the buzz that you help to, disseminate information, how has that courage helped you? Because it sounds like you're bringing a lot of different kinds of people together, and that can be intimidating.
Well, because ironically, I'm really not a people person.
Okay.
It's brought me out of my comfort zone.
All right.
So I guess that maybe is a little bit. I would never say I was courageous. But I don't feel like I'm doing anything that anybody else could do. I really don't think I do anything special. But I have the ability to network.
Okay.
So I'll post something on the Buzz page and people want to help. So I don't necessarily do the work, but I can network for the people. But everything I do is out of my comfort zone, and I would much rather be at home with my dogs.
Right, and to me, that just speaks to the courage, right?
Yeah.
Because you could just sit at home and do nothing, but you decided to get out of your comfort zone and to help people network. What in terms of that, what have you found to be really helpful in getting people to connect with projects? Because we have a lot of community leaders that are, especially coming off of COVID, that are trying to find ways to re-engage their people, right? To build their teams. What have you found to be effective?
Well, the most important thing is I think people trust me.
Okay.
They come to me when they need help. They trust. They'll send me. I could post right now and say, which is something we may end up doing, collecting money for the police department because we did just lose chief. We want to treat the police department to something special, and people will just send me money. I mean, and they don't. Most of the people that I'm working with and I'll do things with, I've never met them.
Okay.
They only know me from the page.
Yeah.
And so for some reason they trust me, and they know that I have the community, the my heart is with the community. I love this community. I've only been here 3 years, but I absolutely adore this community. And I think that we have so much potential to do so much for each other.
That's good.
Yeah, and part of the way that you've shown that love for the community is not just with the Lake City's Buzz page, but also getting involved in some of the things that are happening in the city. And right now, if ever there was evidence that Lake Dallas was a hurting city, we're seeing that with some of the things that have happened at City Hall. When specifically your journey to the Parks and Rec Board, I know that we've got citizens that want to get involved. They don't know how to do it. They've looked at whether or not they should serve on boards and committees. What was it like, convincing yourself that that was a good idea? And then what was that process like so that we can help other citizens that want to get involved?
Super easy. So the only reason I got involved was because I was mad at the city. Okay. The city told me I could not have a white picket fence.
Oh, it sounds like Bobby Mitchell's story.
So the ordinance is 29 years old, and I could have a 4-foot chain link fence, but I couldn't have a 4-foot white picket fence. Okay. And a white picket fence would look really cute with my blue house with a pink door.
Oh, yeah.
Ultimately, I want to live in a Hallmark movie, and so that
nice.
white picket fence would be part of that.
Yeah.
So because I didn't know how the city worked, I decided that the Parks and Rec or a board member would have been the way to go to learn how the innards of the city. So all you do is you print out an application, you go online, you click boards and commissions, I think it says, and you click it, you fill out the application, you send it in, and they told me what was available. Originally, the only one available was the Library Advisory Board. So I said, fine. It wasn't necessarily what I wanted, but I took it because that's what they had. And then once I signed up for that, they called me a couple days later and said, would you like to serve on the Parks and Rec Board? And I said, okay. I had the time. Parks and Rec, we meet on the third Tuesday of every month for about 2.5 hours. And it truly is, if that's all you want to commit to, that truly can be all you commit to.
Okay.
I do more because that's who I am. I'm collecting the bags. I'm doing other things. I do an adopt a spot. I promote the adopt a spots. I promote other things, so I spend a lot more time involved. But if you really only wanted to do that, you could just really go to the meetings.
Gotcha.
So what's the Parks and Rec Board do? Because when I think Parks and Rec, I think of Leslie Knope and Ron Swanson and, the show Parks and Rec. I don't know how that computes here to Lake Dallas.
Well, the Parks and Rec Board is actually the Parks and Rec Board and Keep Lake Dallas Beautiful Board.
Okay.
So it's two separate boards with the same members. So we have two separate meetings the same night.
Okay.
Right now we're going over the Parks and Rec Board. We're redoing parts of Willow Grove Park.
Okay.
So if there's changes that need to be made, we'll discuss the changes. We'll vote on the changes, what we recommend. New signage, new park benches, new dock, things like that is what the Parks and Rec Board does. So really anything in regards to Parks and Recreation is what the parks do.
So I'm just curious. So would that also include the types of sport clubs or sponsored organizations within Lake Dallas? So if there was
like the soccer association or something like that?
Exactly. Soccer, football,
Not so much. It's really more city sponsored.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to do, and I'm probably speaking out of line if any of them hear it, but I want to try and
Nobody listens to this show. It's fine.
We're trying to get, my goal is to get more activities at the different park locations.
Okay.
So like where I came from, we had, it's called Newport Dunes, but it was like a park and a bay, a big kind of like, I guess it would be like our lake. And we would have city sponsored, or they would have city sponsored events. So I think it'd be really great to have like city sponsored events at Willow Grove Park.
Gotcha.
And that kind of thing, which maybe they have in the past. I don't know because I haven't really been involved in that aspect for too long to know. But yeah, and then the Keep Lake Dallas Beautiful, we do all the Adopt a Spot programs, anything that really helps Lake Dallas, the Welcome to Lake Dallas sign, the recycling program, that's going to be part of it.
Okay.
For the first time, we were just issued the Keep Texas Beautiful silver status.
Oh,
Right.
cool.
And so we're working. So, of course, when I saw silver status, the first thing I think about were the requirements for gold status.
course.
That's
Yeah.
what, you
what I'm
know,
talking
who's
about.
Gold
okay with
standard.
silver.
Come on.
That's it.
So I met with the city last couple weeks ago, and so we're working to get that to gold status by next year.
Awesome.
And I think it's feasible to do.
Oh, that's good.
That's awesome. So you serve on the Parks and Rec board, the Library Advisory Board, where you're going to find out how we can get more books on audio. For me personally, which I appreciate. Thank you very much for taking up my cause.
Right.
You
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Yeah. You run the Lake City's Buzz page. We've got elections coming up.
We do.
What resources do you have or do you know of where we can find out about our city council candidates?
Well, and again, this is primarily for Lake Dallas because
Right.
that's what my focus is. But I actually started another page. I think it's called the 2021 election Get to Know the Candidates
Okay.
or something thereabout.
Alrighty.
And that's a page where all of the city candidates, city council candidates, the current city council and the new city council candidates are on, where you can ask questions, and people have asked questions and they'll answer, and it's a way for you to get to interact with them, get to know their platforms and things like that. There's also, I believe it's called 411 Vote,
Okay.
where you can go on that as well. The page that we have, there's a couple other pages within the city. This was one. People laugh when I say it, but I'm really lazy.
That's what I'm hearing all the things that you're involved in, and I'm like, gosh, that
that's
chick
probably
is
that's
so
it.
lazy.
That's it.
But
My goodness.
I wanted one place I could go and talk to all the candidates. I didn't want to go to 5 different candidate pages because I'm not going to do that. And I just
Yeah.
really didn't care. And so that's why I created the one page where people can come. It's a slow page. We only have, I think today we are up to 298 members.
Okay.
It's a page that after the election, I'll probably put on hiatus. I'll keep the page because next year we'll be voting for mayor and then 2 city council spots in 2022.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how is that? I mean, how's the camaraderie on that page? Like, how's the dialogue and how's it been? Right? You had to kick anybody off. Don't answer that.
Do you
I
have
have
to?
not.
Do you have to put on your referee jersey whenever you go and log into that page as the admin?
I don't publicly post who I endorse because I want it strictly an informational page.
Okay.
I did have conversations with a couple people today
Okay.
and tried to explain to them that sometimes when we push who we like the most, it is really a turnoff for other people, so they may potentially be losing votes when in actuality they think they're trying to help the person.
Yeah.
I try to stay out of it. I try not to be the Facebook police. I think I've only ever deleted 1 or 2 posts, and most of them is just because they weren't strictly for the candidates.
Right.
We don't post going-ons. We don't post anything like that on that page.
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
strictly candidates. For the most part, though, most people are well-behaved.
Yeah. I like the idea. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, because I'm with you. I have people that I know that are running for office, and I kind of did something similar, very basic, just on my Facebook page. Just kind of posted their campaign page
Right.
links, but to have a spot where you can interact with the people and it's, you know, kind of open. I mean, I think that's cool.
A couple weeks ago, we did have an incident where I almost shut it down, and I posted that it was very possibly going to be shut down, and more people than not reached out to me and asked me to please keep the page.
Yeah.
A lot of the newer people to Lake Dallas, most of the people that are angry with what's going on right now are people that have been here for a long time, and so they know the history of the problems of Lake Dallas.
Yeah.
And they're frightened that we're reliving. It's like a new cycle of the same problem.
Gotcha.
Some of the newer people who aren't really aware of that, this is a place where they can really try to get their feet wet without being too overwhelmed, because it's very basic.
Yeah.
And you can ask very basic questions.
Yeah, and it seems like all the candidates are fairly active on there. One of the things that I appreciate is the rules, the way that they're laid out as far as it relates to especially the interactions that other people who are members of the page have, because it's so easy with politics, religion, and finances for us to just get in that defensive mode to where we're nothing but like teeth and claws whenever somebody's asking questions about it. And I think that you do a great job of promoting a good like civil discourse.
I try.
We're allowed to have people are allowed to ask questions. Each candidate answers it. The candidates have been pretty good about not attacking one another and instead discussing what the issue at hand is and that kind of thing. So that's been great. So that is what.
It's a lot of words.
What do we think this page is called again?
We think it might be, and if I had my phone, I would look it up. We think it might be the 2021 Lake Dallas election Get to Know the Candidates page.
Okay.
We think.
I have got the Lake Dallas election 2021 Get to Know Your Candidates. That's what we have. And,
I was close.
And there's a pin.
We'll just
thing
trust
up
the
there.
algorithm, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, and the picture says voting is your superpower.
It does say voting is your superpower. And we've got some posts as recent as just a few hours ago to several days ago. And we've got one pinned that says, hey, I'm not shutting this page down, but you guys get your act together.
Yeah. Tell 'em.
Which I like. That was a paraphrase.
Okay.
That was a paraphrase.
Okay.
My biggest rule on all of my pages is be kind.
Yeah.
Just don't be stupid. Be kind. You know, I work in police and fire dispatching. And so some people know that, some people don't. But I deal with all kinds of people all day. Yeah. And the last thing I want to do is be a referee for people that are just ridiculous.
I hear you.
And so if you can't be kind, then you don't need to be. That's not the page for you.
Yeah.
But I try not to censor things because I agree. We all have different opinions.
That's right.
And that's fine. I mean, that's real life. So we try to keep it at that. We try not to get too crazy. And most people are respectful of that.
Yeah. That's why she's in civil service and not ministry, baby. Well, Cristy, thanks for being on the show today. Make sure that you go check out the Lake City's Buzz.
Yes.
If you're listening to this and part of one of those communities, as well as the Get to Know Your Candidates 2021 for Lake Dallas, where we've got some awesome candidates that are looking to fill in some new city council spots. If you want to get involved in the city, make sure you go check out lakedallas.com and go look at the openings that they have. You can download the application to be on part of one of the boards or to get involved that way. And you might just get to sit on an advisory board or the Parks and Rec board with Leslie Nope and Cristy Blue. So thank you guys for listening to the Lake Cities podcast. Cristy, thanks for being on today.
And don't forget early voting this week from 7 to 7 at most, I think, all 4 of the city halls.
Okay.
All righty.
And then
May 1st is the drop dead. You're too late.
Bum, bum, bum. Don't be too late.
Dun, 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 dun.
No, every vote that matters.
Don't be late. That's right.
These votes are all hand counted, and there's no FRAUD, so that YouTube doesn't suspend our account. We got to spell it. Yeah. So we appreciate you guys for listening for the Lake Cities podcast with Chris and Lucas. I've been Lucas,
and I'm still Chris.
We'll see you guys next Thursday.
Holla.
Mwah.
I ain't doing that.
You ain't doing that? XOXOXO.
Chris and Lucas want to thank you for listening to the Lake Cities Podcast, a service provided by FBC Lake Dallas and Antioch Christian Fellowship. If you have a topic you would like for Chris and Lucas to discuss, email them at thelakecitiespodcast@gmail.com. Make sure you give us a review and click on the subscribe button to get the latest episodes each week.